and I guess even 3. And yeah, it gets tough when you have to chase from behind. But I feel like we battled. Second was pretty good. You know, we should have probably scored another one on the power play. We had some looks and good kills in the third. But I feel like our will is there for sure. The way we battle and try our best, but you know, we play against good players. You know, they don't need a lot of room like we saw tonight. So and they can score quick. So.
The will is there. However, the Avs fall 5-2 at the hands of the Tampa Bay Lightning. They fall back under 500, Mark Springers. We welcome you guys to Between the Pipes here on Altitude Sports Radio. We're live on X, on Twitch, and on YouTube. Thanks to our friends at Safeway. We'll get you guys some more audio from the head coach. DMAC is recording that right now. But this was a story of the first 5 spring and then the remaining 55, where the Avs were caught in the headlights. Tampa Bay knew that there was blood in the water, considering how many players were out for Colorado. They jumped on it early. All 3 goals that go in Kaapo Kähkönen, I think, probably go in on his fellow countryman Justus Annunen. If Juice got the start tonight, they were tic-tac-toe, great passing, missed assignments, and again, when you're missing that many players, Spring, those types of mistakes are going to end up in the back of your net, and then you're going to have to play from behind for the rest of the game, chasing. And while the Avs looked good enough, I thought they played really well for the remaining 55 minutes. Tampa was kind of in cruise control for the rest of the game. The Avs made it a little interesting before the empty netter. But this is a long way of saying perennial cup contender meets Hart Trophy winner, Norris Trophy winner, 50-goal scorer, and like 14 AHL dudes. And the game went about the way that you would expect that to go.
Yeah, this is the way it should have gone tonight. Can I give a shout out? Can I give a shout out to the Avalanche players who suited up tonight?
You certainly can.
Who went out there in a situation that is completely unfavorable, and I know it's their job and they're paid to do it, but like they're outmatched on paper with all the dudes that they're without. And you know, Mikko Rantanen, Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, they're the OGs. They're the longest tenured players on this team. They're the ones who have to go out there in the field of fire, and you know, it's a losing mission. You got a couple of really good studs, but your reinforcements are what they are. But I thought, Ivan thought he stepped up tonight. Thought he played and skated pretty well. I thought overall, all said and done, they gave it their all. It was a slow start for sure. There's a lot that you're dealing with emotionally on a day like today. And you're out of sorts. You're playing with guys you're not used to playing with. I think there's a lot of things that you can explain away to a poor start. Kaapo Kähkönen making his first start, a guy you claimed off of waivers. Do you think that they held Justus out tonight because they didn't want him to have the likely fate of just eating that? Like you said, I mean, he could have the skating in front of him to start. It's, you know, first 5 minutes of guys finding their footing against a team that's in rhythm and largely healthy and is one of the better teams in the league. Justus probably gets peppered just like that to start. Is that just kind of help saving his confidence, not throwing him out there to the wolves like that?
It's your 3rd game in 4 nights. Justus Annunen had started 4 hockey games over the course of 6.5 days. And I thought that even if the Avs had not had these injury problems, this was probably a day that you would want to give your goaltender the night off. You're probably not trying to press for a win here because, as you said, it's not a scheduled loss, but it's pretty damn close to it. So why not give Juice the extra few days off, throw him out in a divisional matchup that really does matter against the Nashville Predators on Saturday to get back to 500. I think that makes sense. That's probably what was going through the coaching staff. Obviously, you go into every game expecting to win. But if your job is to look at the whole right now, and I bet you the front office and Bedsy looks at that and goes, well, we have to be perfect to beat Tampa Bay tonight with the myriad of injuries that we are going through. So why not try and see if Kaapo Kähkönen is good enough to be our 1B goaltender? Kähkönen was fine, right? Those 3 goals I can't put on him. They were tic-tac-toe. The Avs weren't ready to play. They've got a bunch of guys playing in positions that they're not expected to. Oliver Shillington is playing forward. Like, that's how hurt they are. It's an absolute nightmare. And I was getting into it on Twitter with a few people earlier tonight. I was like, listen, if Bednar gets this team into a top 3 Central seed, he should be a unanimous Jack Adams Head Coach of the Year award winner. That's how hurt they are. That's how ridiculous this injury thing is. And the retort was, well, he's not putting the team in the best positions to win. Like, why wouldn't you start Justus Annunen? And I think you had it perfectly. Like, you look at this game and you go, you're probably not going to win it, even if you got Patrick freaking Waugh in net. So who cares?
With everyone that they've been without to now being without even more of what they want to have, they come into tonight 5-5, leave 5-6. If you look at the roster that they put out tonight, wouldn't you say 5-6? Like, all said and done, despite the 0-4 start.
5-6, I'm happy with.
Based on what they put out there tonight, that's a 5-6 team. And if you took McKinnon off of this team, that's 0-11. That's an 0-11 team, what they put out there tonight.
Guys,
I love Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen. They're amazing. If you took one of those, maybe if you took Mikko, if you took Cale or Nate out, that is in an 0-11 team.
Guys, TJ Tynan, Matthew Steinberg, Chris Wagner, Oliver Shillington, and Joel Kiviranta, all 4 of those players are in. Kiviranta throw out for a little bit, but the 3 players that I just mentioned, those guys are American Hockey League players that likely within the next 3 to 5 years are probably playing in the East Coast League. And that's not to say that they're bad hockey players. They're just not NHL caliber 82 games a year level players. Joel Kiviranta was picked up off waivers and is a 2-way player for this team last year in order to get himself into the top 13 forwards this year. Oliver Shillington is a defenseman, who
that hasn't played well so far this season.
No, he hasn't been. A 3rd-line forward minutes. Nikolai Kovalenko is a rookie coming over from the KHL. Logan O'Connor is being paid $2.5 million to be a 3rd or a 4th-line hockey player, and he's playing top-line minutes right now. Like, what do you expect, people? What do you expect? And Kevin, I see it here. I understand the frustration. Raj, that was dumb of Bednar. We need the points. The other side of this coin, and I got, again, other things that I got into with people on Twitter over today. Well, it's been years, Spring, of injuries. Like, it's been years. Shouldn't they look into the strength and conditioning coach? Isn't this a systemic issue for the Colorado Avalanche? Well, one, they got rid of their strength and conditioning coach who had been there for well over a decade in Casey Bond, actually won a Stanley Cup championship with them in 2022. They moved on from him. Guys, teams move on from strength and conditioning coaches all the time. So they got a new staff, and the injuries are still happening. So when I say this could have been a scheduled rest day for Justus Annunen, I'm speaking to the people that are saying that they're not doing the right things to keep players healthy. Do you think it would be a good idea for a team that has all of these players out to push their de facto starting netminder to the brink of injury just for 2 points on October 30th? It's an asinine thought process.
If they end up missing the playoffs, if they finish as the 9 seed, and they miss the 8th seed by 1 point, then or even a couple points, we can look back on the 0-4 start. We can look back on the decision not to start Annunen. And I think, I don't think it makes a difference tonight. But you could look back on it and say, this, that. They won't. They will make the playoffs. Because one of the positive takeaways here, really in the 5-game win streak after the 0-4 start, and you saw it tonight in the second half of this game. And I know that they're playing the last 4 or so minutes. with the extra attacker because they're down. But those 4 or 5 minutes, I mean, they had a really good team hemmed in their D zone. And when it was McKinnon, Rantanen, Middlestat, Makar, they are still just whipping that puck looking like $1 million. I mean, it looks like the best group in the league. And they were already undermanned. Now they're without Colton and Wood. When you added even a Ross Colton and a Miles Wood 5-game win streak against, some solid teams, nothing amazing, but 5-game win streak. And they can do that without Nichushkin, without Landeskog, Drouin, and Lehkonen. When this team gets back, this is going to be a distant memory. It really is. I am looking forward to these shows in the future. I'm looking at future Mark and future Raj and future Between the Pipes audience. We're gonna have a good laugh. So for Jared Bednar right now to win, he has deserved so much more love in Coach of the Year voting, in the Jack Adams voting over the past few years. He hasn't gotten any love. It's insane, all that he has had to deal with. The fluke nature. I mean, this starts with a Landeskog knee slice that was just the flukiest of flukes, and then the Nichushkin situation. These are things that are completely out of their control when they talk about injuries for years and it's the strength and conditioning coach. But look at the context of the longer term things. The Nichushkin or the Landeskog thing is completely out of your control. The Nichushkin thing somewhat is too. He's a human being. He lived his life the way he wanted to. That's out of your control. You can't babysit these people, okay? So for Bednar right now to win Coach of the Year, because what's going to happen when the reinforcements come is they're going to be one of, if not the best team in the league. It's going to be freaking sick. When you look at how good McKinnon and company are when the top unit is out there and you can see what it's going to look like, it's going to be very, very good. So for Bednar right now, stay steady, keep a steady message. He's laughing about it a little bit. He knows how ridiculous this is. It's a tough schedule coming up. Nashville, Seattle, Winnipeg. Winnipeg's great right now. Carolina, Nashville, LA, even the Caps in mid-November. It's still a decent team. You stick around 500 right now with what's available in this upcoming stretch. That in and of itself is Coach of the Year worthy. In and of itself is.
I completely agree, and I think you made a great point. The one full NHL line that they have right now, it's so freaking good. Like when they played Middlestat, McKinnon, and Rantanen together at 5-on-5 spring, their core side percentages was 80% at 5-on-5. They outchanced Tampa Bay 8-2 in the very, very small amount of time that they played with one another. They had 2 high danger scoring chances. They had 3 scoring chances, 4. They had 2 rebound attempts that they had created. All these stats are thanks to naturalstattrick.com. Like the one line that they have is dominant. And the fact that they kept this thing to within shouting distance when, let's be completely honest with each other, this thing could have gotten really ugly. Like this, it could have been like, hey, go get the backup shortstop that hasn't played in 3 weeks and have him pitch to the rest of the lineup for the next 4 innings because we're getting beat by 20 bad. And it didn't.
This game became winnable in moments. They make a couple mistakes as this game goes on. And, for example, Matt Steinberg, getting knocked with a 5-minute major and getting tossed out of the game. I mean, we can talk about that, but you got to kill for, was it 3 or 5 that they had to kill?
You had to kill for 3.
For 3 because they gave the roughing to one of the Lightning players. That's what I thought it was. I kind of knew what tonight was going to be, so I got the World Series on.
Yeah.
This is what it is, guys. But Steinberg and Chris Wagner's boarding Ryan McDonough on that same play. And hey, here's the NHL. This worked in the Avs' favor, I guess. They can't call boarding because they didn't call it on the ice. So it's either no penalty or a 5-minute major. And I agree, it wasn't up to that. But, here's Matt Steinberg. The one thing he seems to provide is he's got a little big tuna in him.
He does feel like big tuna.
a little Liam O'Brien where he will throw his body around. Now he threw one big hit earlier in this game, got a little cocky and threw another one on who was it, Chernak? Yeah, I get it was a huge hit. Does he leave his feet? Sure. It puts him on. It's a 5-minute major. That hurts. There's some other kind of, dumb things the Avs do throughout the back half of this game, but it was there for them. There's a universe where like this was actually somewhat there for them, considering how down they were.
I was texting McGahee earlier today, and the Avs go 1 of 4 on the power play. They go 3 of 3 on the PK. And there's a little stat called the Bowman power play coefficient. And when Scotty Bowman was coaching, he was winning all of his Stanley Cups, particularly with the Detroit Red Wings. He essentially boiled it down to your power play and your penalty kill. When you add their rankings up of where they sit in the National Hockey League, they need to be 10 or lower for you to be a legit Stanley Cup championship contender. So like, let's say you're the 3rd best power play in the league and the 6th best PK, those match up to 9. Therefore, under Bowman's thought process, you should be a cup contending team. The way to take that game to game is by adding the power play percentage and adding the PK percentage. And what I was talking to McGahee about was like, I need their Bowman number to be 150 tonight. They need to be perfect on the PK, and they need to score at least half of their power play opportunities. And I think the chance to like possibly get a point out of this thing, it died when you had a little bit of a power play outage. Like you got the 1 goal from Ivan, but you had multiple back-to-back power play chances in that second period. If you can score on one of those, maybe the last 4 minutes of the game when you dominate possession with a pulled goalie, maybe it looks different and you get a better grade A scoring opportunity. And this thing's 4-4 going into OT. You had to overperform on special teams. And when the Avs are going to play against really good teams like Tampa, that's how you're going to win games or eke out points. And if you don't, you won't.
The power play that they got in the second period before all the big hits and shenanigans, the Chernak trip on Kovalenko and that ensuing 2-minute power play, they looked really good on that power play. They had looks. I think that's where Mikko hit a post. And I know that they got Ivan a look in the slot that he put just over the net. They worked it in the zone that entire time. They got themselves good looks. If they convert on that power play, and then Makar, and they're picking it up as this game is going on, and in the third, and Makar scores that goal, instead of 4-2, it's 4-3, and they look good with the empty net. Maybe things just go a little differently. They can tie this thing at 4 somehow and get a point out of the thing. They were sneaky close, but alas, Raj, they are relying on Ivan to carry them. And man, Ivan,
what a player.
I like him. Like, these are the wins right now. These are hey, you look at his play right now, this can come in handy down the stretch.
And for all the lack of like mid-round development that the Avs haven't had, I look at guys like Ivan and go, at least Bednar is looking at that player and going, I need the undrafted Czech free agent to be on my NHL team. Like Ivan was a guy that when he was brought into the organization was like, maybe he'll play a couple of games. That he looks like a long time middle 6 player. He's everything I want out of a hockey player.
I tell you what, man, Ivan is built for the Stanley Cup playoffs, because what's going to happen,
I agree,
is there's a lot of people who still have no idea who the hell Ivan is. But then he's going to get, 4th line minutes on, big time games on TNT, ESPN, ABC in the playoffs. And people are going to be like, who the hell is Ivan? And it's going to be a sensation. He's going to get no more than 10 minutes a night, but he's going to do some decent things in those 10 minutes and maybe score a goal, because he's scored another tonight, and he's come close on a few other opportunities. What has he got? 2 on the year now?
Yep.
You want Ivan on your team. You want the guy with 2 of the same name because, first of all, it's just unique as hell. And second of all, the kid can kind of play.
He can
And,
play.
and people are going to tweet about it. And they're going to be like, who the heck is Ivan? Well, he's an Av. And the Avs found him out of nowhere. He was undrafted. They developed him because that's, the organization, like you said, might not have gotten a lot from the middle rounds of the draft. But Logan O'Connor, Ivan, they can develop an undrafted free agent. Hey, look at that timing.
Darren McKee. D-Mac, what's up, brother? 5-2 loss. Capo Kakinen got shelled in the first 7 minutes, but, they kind of held on and made it respectable.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, bro. I get it. You're down. You're strapping. You want to play physical. Jared Bednar said he was fine with Steinberg. He'll roll the dice. He'll take those mistakes. So you're physical. Fine. It's just not the style of hockey I think the Avs are all about. I don't think they're great with it. It feels weird watching it. I mean, a lot of teams play old-time hockey like that. It's just, I don't know, man. That's not the Avs team I love. That's not the style I think is winning hockey for them, but that's kind of what they were relegated to tonight.
Well, I would say they were much better in the back half of this game.
I'm having issues with Spring right now. I just can't hear Spring. Yeah, I can't hear Spring if he's talking, but I can hear you, Raj.
Well, Raj, go ahead and tell him. I think they played admirably in the back half of that game.
Spring thinks outside the first 7 minutes of this game, Colorado actually gave it a shot. And I find myself agreeing. Maybe Tampa felt like they were on a little bit of cruise control, but if you find a little bit of pace on your power play in the second period, this thing becomes a 3-3 hockey game before you know it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have the puck bounce your way, I suppose. I thought they were going to lose 11-0 after the first 5 minutes.
I did too.
I guess that's good. I mean, I was like, when is this going to end? Maybe no time. But, it's not like Kakinen hasn't played NHL games. He has. This wasn't his, NHL debut. So he kind of settled down. Bedsy said afterwards he probably wish he had the first one back. It's in the slot. Had a pretty clear view of it. It was a blast. But, I mean, I think he could have had that one. And then Bedsy said the rest of them, forget it. He had no shot on him. I don't know. What's your favorite line tonight? What's your favorite combination?
The one NHL line that they have that they put together in the third period of Middlestat, McKinnon, and Rantanen that was possession numbers wise dominant. Their core side was 80%. They had 8 scoring chances to 2 against in the few minutes that they played together. The one NHL line that the Avs have, shocker, it's dominant. And then the rest of the dudes who are basically American Hockey League players aren't as good, and that's just kind of where we are right now. That's the issue. You were in the post-game presser. Bednar, injuries. There was an update.
Yeah, Lehkonen is coming back on Tuesday against Seattle, and Duran is not far behind, but Lehkonen will be back on Tuesday.
Reinforcements. That's all we ask for, D-Mac. That's all
something, we ask for. And Val will be back around the 17th. I mean, they talk about Val it's a no-brainer. He'll be reinstated, and he'll just be going. I mean, that's all the talk with him. Of course, we got the just horrible news about Colton today, 6 to 8 weeks. And I think, I don't know about Wood. It might be, it won't be that long, but at least Lehkonen will be back by Tuesday, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm expecting a 2-week thing from Miles Wood. D-Mac, appreciate all the work and the videos from the locker room, whether it's Bednar or Kakinen. We heard from Mikko Rantanen at the beginning of the show. Again, as always, appreciate everything you do for us down there at Ball Arena.
All right, I appreciate it. I don't know why I couldn't get. Usually, I got Spring fine. Spring, I'm sorry, bro.
I don't know, D-Mac.
You're not popping up tonight for whatever. I know you're there. I know you're there, but I can't see or hear you. But I'm probably best unseen and unheard as well, so that's probably my style.
Unseen and unheard, you're live 24/7. What are you talking about?
Come on, bro. All right, by the way, this is what happens after games. Just skating. Just come out. I don't know if people realize how much stuff happens on the arena, after games are over. It's wild. I mean, it's Wednesday, and there's like 5-year-olds out there. No school tomorrow, I guess.
We used to have like a KSE pickup game every now and again at Ball Arena.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
Those things, they just like went away. There were a few like decent players out there. I skated at them a couple of times, and then like COVID hit, and we've never had it again.
Well, I'd dress up for that one. I'd get out there and embarrass myself on that.
Dress up. You dressed up for Halloween?
I'm going as somebody interesting.
Oh, all right.
We can see if I can fool anybody. All right, boys. I'll talk to you later. We'll see you.
See you, D-Mac.
Dude, Lehkonen back on Tuesday, and, not a huge surprise when you think about it, because that's about when he was due back, but that's going to feel incredible to even get Artturi Lehkonen, who's a great player, but, he's not really an all-star, but to get him back is going to be huge. He's a great NHL player. Miles Wood, 7 to 10 days. So, you're looking like Wood should be back next week too. You got Lehkonen and Wood back. Drouin could be back next week as well. That's going to feel night and day when you get those three back. Dude, they are without the entire Roaring 20s line. That whole line is out, hurt. And, Ross Colton, broken foot, 6 to 8 weeks. That's what it is. Like, it's long, but it's not that long. I hope we get to see this roster at full strength by the end of the year. I really do.
End of the year, I think you've got a really, really good shot at it. Here's the coach in his post-game presser.
Yeah. We're aiming for Tuesday against Seattle. I think it's Tuesday. Tuesday against Seattle.
That's him on Lehkonen?
No, nothing yet. He's ramping up, though. He's starting to take controlled contact, and so he's still a little sore, but he'll be getting close to. I don't have that's going to be day by day.
That's on Jonathan Drouin?
The day he's playing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought he.
Those are the words from Jared Bednar, post-game presser, when he's talking about those two players, and Drouin and Lehkonen being back within the next 2 weeks. Lecky back on Tuesday. Spring, Care Bear in the comments is begging for an apology. I'll give you half an apology because you said he was going to play tonight against Tampa Bay, and that's when I called you crazy. So I will apologize half for you there.
No, I think it was pretty clear. I think it was all pretty clear in the last show, right? And we knew with Lehkonen early November, late October, I guess was like the optimistic when we were hearing about all this a month or so ago. It all checks out with Artturi Lehkonen. But honestly, and I mean this, even if he's not ready Tuesday, hold him out. Like, make sure he's good to go. Sounds like he will be, but there is not a sense right now for me that, I want him back. I mean, this is going to suck. Like this weekend in Nashville, it's going to be tough. It's going to suck. I want, Lehkonen back as soon as possible, but you still have to play the long game. I don't want to rush anybody back right now because I really do think, and I think the talent, the roster checks out. They can overcome this. Even if it piles on for a couple more weeks, they can overcome this. So don't rush anybody back. The long game. Make sure Lehkonen's shoulder is as ready as possible. Don't bring him back too soon, so then he has to exit because you brought him back too soon and he takes a hit he wasn't ready for. I need Lehkonen for the long haul. I need him in April and May.
Without a doubt, the question from 303 Hockey, Juice and Capo moving forward. Are we good to waive Georgie? I probably need to see another one out of Kakkonen, I think. But honestly, like, at this point, don't the Avs need the cap space to possibly send Georgie down to the AHL and halfway hope that someone picks him up off waivers? Isn't that 3.75 look really nice?
You got to see. I think you need to see Kakkonen again because you'd be committing to him as the backup. And if Georgiev is right, he could be a hell of a backup. There's a world where he could take his job back. I don't know if Kakkonen, like Georgie at his best, Kakkonen at his best, I don't think Kakkonen is on the level. I don't think he's there.
Right, but like, I also don't think that Ananen at his best is on Georgie's level when Georgie's on top of his game. But like, you just don't know when you're going to get that, and you certainly can't bank on it from any point of consistency.
I mean, I understand the mindset of, oh, you know, say you could save 3.5 million. So if somebody were to claim him off of waivers, they would absorb all $3.5 million, or even if he went unclaimed, which means you could send him down to the Eagles, that $3.5 million wouldn't be on the main roster books.
Yeah, that's the hope that like if you were to expose him to waivers and he would get picked up, you go, oh well, we've got the goaltending answers here in house right now. Yeah, all that money would be gone off the books if someone claimed him. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you need to see another start from Kakkonen at least.
Let's hear another piece from Coach Bednar in his post-game presser.
The job, so the first one, Covey doesn't come deep enough to protect the slot, and this pass surprised him, like he's not aware that the guy's behind him. I felt like we could have broke that pass up, no problem. It's in the back of our net. With Shilly on the second one. I thought we played hard, third one, Sam falls, they take off on the odd man rush. He kind of Tynan runs into him because he falls in the lane. It's sort of bad luck. And then the fourth goal, Mance gets caught stepping up on a pinch, and they shoot it off the post, and then it goes right to their guy. There's two grade A scoring chances right there. I think if you take those 4 plays out of it, we defended hard and defended well against a really talented team that can be, I don't want to say they're an opportunistic team, but they're a super dangerous team if you give them those type of chances. Like, you have to try and make them earn it harder than that. So, but overall, I thought we were engaged in the game. We played pretty hard, played pretty well. We definitely had a better second than first, and third was pretty good again, creating chances and opportunities to score, but it just didn't come easy for us tonight.
Apologies for that being a little bit quiet. It's about as loud as I can get Coach there, but he's echoing kind of everything you've said, Spring.
You know what else tonight? Because I really do think the Avs picked it up and were dangerous, especially their top guys. Andrei Vasilevsky was great tonight. He made some things look very easy, and he's been picking it up of late. He came into tonight with 905 save percentage. That's kind of low for Vazzy. Exits with a 911 save percentage, but it's because he had a 4-game stretch in the middle of October. Save percentages of 88, 82, 71, and 82. But in his last 4 games, he pitched a shutout, a 94 and a 94 tonight. So he's good as actually his last 3 games. He's been very good in his last 3 games. He was excellent tonight. He looked like the best goaltender in the league once again tonight. He was great. There were some opportunities where I thought that's going in, if not for the sound form of Andrei Vasilevsky.
And now that he's in his age 30, 31 season, the thought is he getting passed up by some of these younger Russian netminders? Has Igor Shesterkin taken the throne as best goalie in the league? Is Ilya Sorokin, who has a Vezina trophy to his own credit, better than Andrei Vasilevsky? The dude's got a 2.5 and a 917 average as his career numbers for goals against and save percentage, respectively. Maybe he's starting to hear a little bit more about that. Maybe shedding some of the money, like getting rid of Sergachev, getting rid of Stamkos, and bringing in a player like Jake Gensel is something that's helping the team around him right now. But make no mistake about it. If Tampa Bay is going to compete for another Stanley Cup championship, Andrei Vasilevsky has to be the Vazzy of old. He can't be the guy that over the past couple of postseasons and regular seasons has thrown up like a 900 save percentage and a 2.9 goals against. He has to be 920 save percentage, 250 goals against, and then they can beat anybody.
Tampa should have done the Avs a solid tonight. Fair is fair, and they should have put Jonas Johansson. They should have put Jonas Johansson in net. I mean, like, have some empathy for the Avs' plight. Don't throw Vasilevsky out there. That's not fair. With what the Avs threw at you, put Jonas Johansson back there. But I think he wins them the game. I think Vasilevsky ultimately wins them that game tonight. And even a full strength Lightning squad, the better part of that game, they get outskated by one of the best lines in the league and some guys. They got outskated.
And some dudes. I'm still holding a piece in the back of my head that's like, they were on cruise control after the first.
There is that. There's
a thought.
And some of those opportunities were, empty net situations
that like had this game gotten tied with or gotten to within one, let's say with 15 minutes to go in the third period, I think you would have seen Tampa like say, all right, we're going to play hockey again. And then it would have been a change. I could be wrong, but that was just kind of the feeling that I got, is that Tampa scored 3 early and went, well, we've got a long road trip, so why gas ourselves right now?
There very well might have been some of that too for the assessment. That could lead to my assessment that the Avs outplayed Tampa in the back half of this game, that Tampa was just like, okay, we've made our point against whatever this is against us tonight.
I thought that was the case, and then John Cooper tries to like talk the referees into matching stacked 5-minute majors. I was like, John, cool it, dude. You're up 3. You don't need this. Or they were
it's tough. Some of who I thought was so solid defensively for Tampa tonight was Victor Hedman, and you're asking like that. That's just a different level. For Tynan, Wagner, Steinberg, Kelly, Shillington, get in net front on Hedman, and then Vasilevsky's bringing his A game behind that. Only McKinnon, Rantanen, and Middlestat can be effective against that defensive. It's because not just Hedman; it's Vasilevsky behind him. You got to be elite to break that.
You're so right. These guys are used to going out to play in the Tucson Roadrunners in Arizona, and the guys that are playing in net are, Jackson Stauber and Matthew Villata, and they have to look up and they go, oh, that like the first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer, that's the guy I got to score on.
The only Av in the bottom 6 tonight who should be in the NHL is Nikolai Kovalenko. That's it.
Just insane. All right, Spring, let's go through the NHL scoreboard tonight and then get out of here. We also have a little special announcement for you guys coming up on Saturday, so stay tuned for that before we sign off this evening. Again, Avs fall 5-2. They fall to 5-6 on the season. They can get back to 500 as they head out to Broadway in Nashville to take on the Predators. The remaining scores from around the National Hockey League tonight, by the way, Los Angeles Dodgers, World Series champion. They come back from 5 runs down tonight to stun the Yankees in the Bronx. That thing is over. Kings double up the Golden Knights at home by a score of 6-3. Gorgeous little pass this evening from Brant Clark over to Anze Kopitar that made this thing 4-0. It was over halfway through the game, Spring. They cool off the Golden Knights, and the Knights were red hot going into this one.
Yeah, I saw a highlight on Twitter of was Ilya Samsonov misplaying a puck.
Yes.
It was just that kind of night for them. The goaltender, unforced error leading directly to a goal. I mean, look, LA, they're one of those teams that they've had issues in goal this year. Darcy Kemper gets the win. He needed at least 4. He allowed 3. So the Kings had to score 6 tonight, and they did it.
Speaking of hot teams that have cooled off, the Calgary Flames get hammered 5-1 in Salt Lake City against the Utah Hockey Club. The first goal in the young career of Maverick Lamoureux. Do you remember what Maverick Lamoureux is famous for, Spring?
Is that the kid with the parents who made out?
Yes! I'm so happy you remember that.
The only reason I could associate that name with that moment was I think the name Maverick stands out to me with that.
Maverick Lamoureux. He gets selected in the first round of the NHL entry draft, and his
Oh my
parents are
God.
going tongues down each other's throat on NHL
It
Network.
was a French kiss. What then? Lamoureux, that sounds like a French Canadian name. So, and yeah, and I tweeted, I swear I tweeted that night.
You did.
I said, if that's how they celebrate their kid getting drafted, imagine how they're going to celebrate when he scores his first NHL goal. So, holy crap.
There might be an Iceman Lamoureux coming up in 9 months from right now.
Exactly.
2-0 is the score from the Blue Jackets. They win their second straight game, shutting out the Islanders. They get a goal from Justin Danforth, the empty netter, to ice that one. Damon Severson scored his second of the season 5 minutes into the third period to break a 0-0 deadlock. The Jets, fresh off of their first loss, go on the road to Detroit and hammer the Red Wings 6-2, tripling up the winged wheel. Kyle Connor scores his 9th of the season. Nino Niederreiter gets his 5th as well. And I believe we've got one more game, 13 minutes to go. The Devils in the Hughes Bowl. All three Hughes brothers on the ice tonight have a 4-0 lead on the road in Vancouver.
You know, a couple of those right there. Two Canadian Western Conference teams. First, Vancouver losing 4-0 at home to New Jersey, and New Jersey's a good team. But, you know, when I was talking about that Carolina-Vancouver game from the other night, and I liked Carolina in that game, you know, Vancouver, to me, they lose that one in overtime. They got a point. But now they're getting the doors blown off, and they're at home for both these games. Like, if Vancouver was a playoff team, they shouldn't be losing 4-0 with some of the young talent on that team. They should not be losing 4-0, but they're a lighter team. There's some Avs in them, but not quite with that true upside. So when you're lighter like that, Quinn Hughes, the lighter defenseman, I wondered if this was a come down to earth year for them. If they outkicked after, you know, years, Raj, we're like, man, Vancouver, they got it, they didn't have it. And then they surprise us, but maybe they are more of that, you know, couldn't quite, you know, Pedersen's good, can't get to that McKinnon level, you know. Hughes is good, he's not Makar. And then the Winnipeg Jets, you know, I've viewed them as, you know, maybe some fool's gold, but holy crap. They're actually kind of winning me over. And they lose last night. Their perfect start to the season comes to an end, 6-4 at home to Toronto. So to turn around the next night, and Detroit's solid, and to go into that building and win 6-2, that's impressive. This is the first Winnipeg Jets win where I will legit say, holy crap, that's actually kind of impressive. And you guys might be more dangerous than I thought.
The Red Wings are my new Vancouver Canucks, where I look at and I go, you guys should be so much better with this young core. Why are you not a playoff team? They're my Canucks of, like, you said it, from the years like 2019 to 2022. You and I looked at Vancouver and went, like, that should be a top 2 seed in the Pacific. And then they just missed the playoffs by, 14 points every single year. Detroit is that version for me. I think the eyes are playing is failing for some reason.
You need Elias Pettersson in Vancouver to be you need him to be a McKinnon, Matthews. You need these guys. You need them to be superstars. You need Lucas Raymond, Mo Seider to be superstars.
Yep.
So you can be good, but unless you become a superstar, other superstars in the league exist, and they will ultimately eat you out. Is that how I say?
Whoa!
I didn't
You got Maverick Lamoureux's parents on your mind, huh?
Hey, internet, what's up?
Oh, it's gonna do it for us tonight.
Eat you alive. How's that?
For our friends at Safe
Maybe
Play.
we'll do the other one.
Thank you guys so much for sponsoring the program every single night. This has been Between the Pipes with Raj and Spring. On Saturday, we are going to have a live version of the show. So we're not going to be like here on X and on YouTube. We will be on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5 FM, and we'll also be on Twitch. So you guys can find us there. It'll be a live show following the Avs game against the Nashville Predators. And if you're doing nothing on Saturday and you're looking for somewhere to watch the game, come watch it with us, because Spring and I are hosting a watch party with Ed Prather Real Estate out at Rhine House. Come have a bunch of brats and some pretzels, drink a bunch of beer with us. Come hang out with us.
Let's just have some fun before Lehkonen gets back and everyone else. That's just fun time. Everyone like no freaking out, no overanalyzing, no, oh, I know how to fix the Avs. No, you don't. They are in a shit way right now. They are, I mean, it's just bad.
When they're
so let's just have some fun. And it's not their fault. So let's just have some fun.
When
at
we're
Rhinehouse on Saturday night.
When they're completely healthy, Spring, in like the middle of February, and they've been healthy for a while, like knock on wood that actually happens, we're going to be looking back at these days and going, I yearn for the days of between the pipes. Like they're going to lose a game in the middle of February where they're completely healthy that they should have no business losing. And we're going to overreact and people are going to lose their minds. And you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say, I wish we were back on October 30th when we had zero expectations for this team.
They're Cinderella in Nashville on Saturday night. Like, if it can be one of those, it's like you're watching a March Madness upset. If the Avs win that game, go off, cheer as loud as you want. If they get the win on Saturday night, it's house money. So, and if it sucks, then we'll commiserate together.
That's going to do it for us for spring. I'm Raj. Join us on Saturday, starting at 5 p.m. at Rhinehouse with our friends from Ed Prather Real Estate. Tune in tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. for Brett Kane, 7 to 10, Moshe Lombardi and Kane. I'll be on from 10 to noon with Rob Trigilio, so come hang out with us. It'll be a fun show. And then we'll hand things off to PhD and Kreckman and Lindahl from 3 to 6, where Spring is a super producer with Nate and Andy. What are they? The Triple X and the Nerd is the nickname that they have.
Yeah, that'll do. That's appropriate.
Listen all day tomorrow. We'll see you guys on Saturday. Avs lose, bummer, whatever.